All right, Jay Glazer joins us now. It's been a quiet week around the NFL, as we all know. All right, tell me what you know about this Miami thing. Go ahead, start.
Well, Mike, there's a ton I know about it, but actually, at this point, I got to look. I'm working on a bunch of stuff for Fox NFL Sunday. Stuff I think no one's heard yet.
Okay, I respect that. And let me say this. Hold on a second. Let me say also that Jay's brought to you by Jarlsberg Cheese, distinctively sweet and nutty taste. Jarlsberg, the perfect cheese for the game day, and by Mercy College. Go to mercy.edu/WFN for information on the next grad open house. I respect that. So tell us, where are we headed with this
thing? Here's the parts I can't tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, everybody has jumped out, and what we all believe, okay? Mm-hmm. The biggest thing is that we know there's three sides to every story, right?
Yep.
None of us have heard from Jonathan Martin. We've heard snippets from Richie Incognito. Until we hear from both guys, I don't want to rush to any sort of judgment. But, when you speak to look, you remember, too, I was the one who broke this initially 2 weeks ago when Jonathan Martin left the team and went AWOL. And that day I had reported, look, he checked himself into a facility, and there's obviously something else here at play. So we know you obviously want him to get whatever help he needs to get. When you talk to former and current Dolphins, they insist, geez, we're surprised Richie is this guy's best friend of the team. I've talked to Richie about it, who said, yeah, this is my guy. Well, obviously Jonathan Martin doesn't view it that way. At least that's what we hear, that he doesn't view it that way. And, he obviously looked at it, and what we're hearing now from his attorney and his agent that this wasn't a place that, for whatever reason, whether it was bullying, whether it was something else, we don't know. And we don't know what it is until we hear from Jonathan Martin. We don't know the other side until we hear fully.
And how about the side of whether the coaches played a role or not?
Yeah, but also even that, okay, I know you're saying a code red, but in a locker room, I want my guys tough. You know what I mean? I don't know now, but what extent? If they just say, hey, we want to make sure, hey, toughen them up, is one thing. But if you're saying take it to a different level and toughen them up, that's a different thing. Again, we don't know. That's my whole thing, is we all want to jump out and get holier than thou because it seems horrible. And look, we had Scott Fujita on Fox Football Daily yesterday, and he said, hey, when the Bounty Gate situation happened, everybody jumped out and said Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis are the worst people in this country. And news programs did things on bounties. And we did social issues. And then all of a sudden, 4 months later, people said, hey, you know what? Maybe there's two sides or three sides to this, and maybe we're a little bit too quick to judge. But by then, the court of public opinion had already been closed. They had already hung them. And that's the same thing here. I'm not saying Incognito's right. I'm not saying Jonathan Martin's right. I'm not saying anybody's right until we hear from both sides directly. I don't care what agents say. I don't care what attorneys say. I care what the kid says. And even if you think you're tied with a kid and you're pushing him over the edge, okay, and you don't see it, hey, at one point you got to say, enough is enough. We got to make sure he's good. This is our guy. That's your brother in there. You can't push your brother away, but I don't know what the signs were until we hear from him.
And clearly there is information being leaked about both guys that is damning. I mean, there's no question, including that report last night about that golf tournament where that made him look terrible. I mean,
absolutely.
If that's true,
Richie's had a bad reputation for a long time, but he is also, if you listen to players in there now, they're like, hey, he's worked to overcome this. I don't know. Richie's had a lot of issues. We know that. We're all surprised that Incognito, all this stuff is coming out. He's had a bad reputation. I don't know why we're all shocked by this suddenly. It's not something that suddenly just came down the pipe. It is something that, I think when you have issues, you're always fighting those issues. But the bottom line here is with Martin. We got to hear from Martin and Richie.
How long is the investigation going to take from the league and the Players Association?
If I'm the league, I take as much time. I get right into this thing, and I talk to those players, and I talk to those coaches. And here's the other thing. We all want to jump out holier than thou about what's said in the locker room, okay? I don't know how you guys mess around with each other in the newsroom there. I don't know how people in the mind talk to each other. I've been in locker rooms. I've been in MMA gyms. I know how certain places talk to each other. Certain things are okay in some locker rooms. They may not be in another. But the way you do mess with each other in an NFL locker room is definitely different than you do at Microsoft.
No question.
No
no
question
one
about
doubts
it.
that.
No question about it. But we also can't get holier than thou that, oh, my gosh, this was, I had one player call me the other day and said, hey, Jay, I get made fun of more than anybody in my locker room because I got 7 nationalities. And one of the nationalities they make fun of me for, I'm not even. And he said, and they kill me over this. And when I retire, I'm going to miss that the most. Now, that's that guy. But there are other players that go, I'm not into that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear those words. I don't want. And look, as a white guy, we think you can never, ever say the N-word. Okay, but again, we're not until we hear from Jonathan. Now, Jonathan Martin may come out and go, this guy ruined my life. He was awful. He was terrible. He was this and that. And then even then you go, okay, whose job was it to see that? Who needed to see it? What signs were there? And he may come out and say, no, it wasn't just him. It was a bunch of stuff. There was other factors. We don't know until we hear from him. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to report facts in this instead of jumping out with things that maybe happened years ago or what could have happened. And that's where I've tried to stick with the facts. For this whole thing, but it's so bizarre.
We'll move on to something else. One more question on this, and then obviously we'll wait to hear.
I will tackle this very hard.
Okay, good.
All
right, and we'll wait till Sunday on that part. Now, do you believe that the Martin camp is readying a lawsuit against the Dolphins or the NFL?
Because yesterday I was the first to put out that information that they've hired this attorney. They insist. It's an attorney that can kind of guide them. It's an attorney who's dealt with crisis management. I don't know. All I know is that they hired him. And anybody who tries to claim they know why is full of it. Because, again, we haven't heard from him.